Isaiah, welcome. I've had the honor to work with Isaiah. He is the CEO
Yep.
of
Yep.
Trellis. And tell us a little bit about what Trellis is, what you do, what your commitments are.
Yeah, so we're a digital agency. We're focused on e-commerce. So it's very relevant to the world right now because one of the main ways to shop right now, given what's going on, is online. So mainly we work with kind of like small, medium-sized customers, but some of the large companies as well, to help them either build a new e-commerce site or manage their existing e-commerce site and improve what they have. And we also help them with marketing and strategy around how to grow e-commerce.
Awesome. So expansion to share their offerings to the world.
Yep.
Through the wonderful interweb.
Yep.
Super. And I personally had the honor of working with Trellis and creating educational videos. So definitely check out their channel on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yep.
And so with that said, we wanted to come together and share about the crisis here with the COVID-19, how it's impacted the e-commerce space, how it's impacted the business structures, and how to kind of pivot as you're the leader there with Trellis, how you're pivoting within your own company and how you could share what you've discovered with your communities and people really looking for guidance and what to do in this very
kind of unprecedented times.
A lot of gray area.
Yeah, I think like what we started to realize, and I think everyone's realizing, it's like week by week it just kind of got worse, and the reality kind of sets in that like we're not going to come out of this in a week or 2 weeks. Or I remember like there was someone like, hey, we'll be back to normal in like by Easter, and that's obviously not looking very realistic.
No.
And now they're talking about May, and who knows what May will be like. So yeah, I mean, I think we saw definitely an industry specific shift. So first of all, we saw a lot of things slow down. Like just you could tell the economy was slowing down. It was kind of like it's a very fast, rapid economic shift. The stock market crashed a little bit. So immediately we kind of reacted that, hey, like we got to start preparing for essentially like a downturn. Like we can't assume that. We started to look at our business very differently. Like we had been in growth mode. We were in the Inc. 5000 last year. If we apply this year, we should be in it again for last year's numbers. And we were projecting like huge numbers for this year, but we kind of like threw that all out the window and started to think about like, okay, what's survival mode look like? What does it look like if we get no sales for 3 months? Like basically like how can we survive with, a decrease in growth and even like revenue from existing clients, and start to really like narrow in on that.
So what did you discover with that key question?
How can we survive, or what it look like? Yeah, I mean, we had to make some hard decisions. So we looked at kind of our entire business, where we looked at all of our expenses, and luckily we're in a pretty straightforward business where our expenses aren't very complicated. I mean, we have like rents, which we talked to our landlord. They were willing to be flexible. We haven't stopped paying rent or anything, but it's nice to know that, if we got really desperate, there's some flexibility there. And they actually offered some money back from our security deposit because we paid the full year. So that was like a simple one to look at. We looked at then our other costs is software as a service. Like we have a lot, like we're very, the shift to digital was not hard for us. We run everything on SaaS, like Zoom, like we're on right now. So we looked at all those costs, consolidated everything down that we could, cut out any users because you pay like per user that we didn't need, and just kind of like got that cost as low as we could. And then unfortunately the big cost for us is people. So we stopped hiring, so we cut all hiring. So we don't have to, like, we looked at our recruiter costs were starting to kind of get a little high for us. So we looked at that, and it's nice to see that, like, hey, if that went down to zero, it's a lot more manageable. Then we started looking at our contractor costs and payroll and what we can do there. And basically, there were some people on, we looked at the performance of our entire team. There was a few people that we felt like were not performing at the level that we needed. So we made a pretty quick decision there in March. So we had to let go 3 people that we felt weren't really providing the value that we needed, that were on the full payroll staff. And then we started kind of cutting into contractors. We're not trying to burn bridges with contractors because a lot of our contractors are really valuable. They're really good people, but it's just, we looked at ways of like, can we consolidate some of this cost or maybe give them a little bit less hours for a couple months and try and talk to them about how like, hey, we're trying to weather the storm and that we'll be there for the long run. Hopefully we can back up.